stage.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the organizers to host this special event. It's a wonderful event, and I'm so delighted to be here. In your booklet, you will see Dr. Kınık. I'm his new version. So he's getting old. I'm the new and young version. Unfortunately, he won't be able to make it today. He has so many other meetings. He's overseas today, and he will be going to a couple of countries. So I'll try to make it as concrete as possible. Because of the last minute, I don't have the presentation, but I'll be talking, so I hope I won't be boring. As you may know, Turkish Red Crescent is 150 years old. It's pretty old, and it's quite old. I believe it's older than this building. Well, this one's built by the end of 1800s, so it's basically older than this building. It was established in 1868. So since from the establishment until today, Turkish Red Crescent is very, very active. Right now, we have delegations in 13 countries, and we have been operating in more than 45 countries. Just recently, we worked on Strategy 2030. So we are focusing on the future to see what we can do better. I'll just give only one number, just one statistics. This is, I would say, is our milestone to think about the future and why, as Turkish Red Crescent, we are in the humanitarian field. In every minute, in every 60 seconds, 9 people die worldwide just because of hunger. So 9 people are dying because they don't have food. They don't have access to any food or water. And we are here to prevent this, or to stop this. We have one crucial motto to say that Turkish Red Crescent will be working on to make sure that no one will be left behind. So, when we talk about humanitarian efforts of the Turkish Red Crescent, the most fundamental purpose of the Red Crescent is to make people and society stronger and to alleviate the human suffering of disaster and poverty. Red Crescent, like all other national societies, plays a supporting role for the state with their duties. Considering all kinds of disasters, including natural or human disasters, or political, economic crisis in the world, it is seen that humanitarian aid, refugees, and disaster issues will have a very important role in the agenda of social services. When I talked about the strategy of 2030, we highlighted a number of strategic objectives. I'm not going to go all over it, but I'll just highlight a couple of those ones. The first one is the battle of poverty and global hunger. The aim of social durability can be reached with the aim of strengthening the individuals with the empowerment of the region and the social environment in which they live. And our goal is to mobilize the inner potential of the region and social inclusion of the local people and the participation of all. Terrorism, geographical restrictions, difficulties in regional development, employment opportunity insufficiency, and the fragilities which come along with it. Publicity programs will be promoted by the Turkish Red Crescent, which will be prepared specifically for each region, which will start as a pilot project in the southeast of Turkey. Poverty, as we all know, is a common problem, and it should be tackled with sustainable and innovative tools. Turkish Red Crescent aims to create new business opportunities in order to eliminate poverty and protect human dignity. We will be competitive in the local and global market to promote a focus that we call value chain. Those chains will be established in order to manage each product and services starting from the processing until they are ready to get to the market. And despite the application of many various programs, unfortunately, looking at the statistics of the last 3 years, global hunger steadily tends to be increasing. Climate change and disasters, income distribution imbalances, unplanned urbanization, global interventions in the food production and supply chain only increase hunger and threaten food security. As Turkish Red Crescent, we will be creating nutrition health programs and projects for natural or human-caused disasters causing social starvation. One of the most important aspects of battling global hunger is to combat food waste. That will be focused on increasing the substance, resources, and help saving more food in order to eliminate waste as much as possible. And the second objective, as we had discussed here to ask who are the youngs, we all are young. By the way, by the new terminology, anyone below 65 is considered young by UN, so we all are young here. So second objective that we have is healthy living and aging society. A community-based protection and promotion of the human health is possible with the culture of healthy and safe living. Turkish Red Crescent will open up centers for the promotion of this culture in the field of community health and will help the state in reducing the burden of social. The program aims to raise awareness, change in behavior, and competence in areas such as obesity, diabetes, psychological problems, addictions, first aid, etc. These aspects are intended to be extended to the whole country through the Red Crescent centers. One of the Red Crescent's traditional areas of the nursing home services are going to be improved with the required norms. Models implementing the socialization of seniors with their peers and young people, and at the same time continue with their daily activities. Kızılay will form professional teams for social care, health care, psychosocial and physical rehabilitation services to aim at home care of the elderly and the population in the need of care. Another one already mentioned on one of those slides is about the disaster. So we need to work on disaster-ready individuals and resilient communities. If we don't make ourselves ready, we cannot make others ready. So Turkish Red Crescent provides related formal education activities in order to create a society which is open to social solidarity and resistant to disasters. Our foundation aims to create awareness to acquire knowledge and skills and to actively participate in disaster processes and establish the appropriate preparations as part of our lifestyle. Disaster management process should include all segments of the society. With this understanding, as Kızılay, by the way means Red Crescent, and the old term is Siyah Ahmer, we intend to develop and strengthen our disaster response capacity by moving to a community-based disaster management system. As an institution with the most deep-rooted disaster culture, Turkish Red Crescent targets for all their employees to be disaster leaders. The development of the social base by organizing capacity-building training programs that will make emergency leadership locally with the active participation of different backgrounds in the community and of non-governmental organizations is very important when taking responsibility in the disaster area. Again, last but not least objects is habitable environment. One of our nation's strategic objectives is called zero waste. All Red Crescent units shall be providing maximum support for this program. With this study, the neglected national cultural values will be revived and humanitarian efforts will be strengthened. Public awareness training and local projects will be carried out in order to plan the spreading of the culture of recycling parts of all kinds of consumables. Another practice run by the Turkish Red Crescent in order to make the world's a more habitable place is One Blood, Three Seedling project. So Kızılay will ensure that 3 seedlings are planted for each blood donation received. This way we will be creating Red Cross blood donor forests all over the country. And our donors will be proud of their support for the environment. So in a nutshell, when we talk about the disaster, when we talk about the youth, again, it has to start with us. We wanted to make sure that in every single house, at least one person to get formal education or training related to disasters. We already started with this one. We started with community leaders to make sure that we can carry out the message. Anytime there's any disaster, by the way, I forgot to mention, talk about myself. I'm a Deputy Director General responsible for the disaster, education, health, and social services. So anytime there's any disaster nationwide, we have to run to those disaster areas. But believe it or not, before we go, there's someone settled in the area. So if we can train those people, which we already started training, they go to the area before us, and they feed us with the right information so that we can send out the second team, third team, and so on. If you don't get direct information, then it's too hard to estimate the damage, the level of the damage in the area. Again, I would like to thank for everyone to invite us, and I basically brought the message from Dr. Kerem Kınık to say thank you for everyone. Hopefully to get a wonderful event, and I'm always actually learning a lot from my New Zealand colleague. We just had the MOU between New Zealand and Turkish Red Crescent just last week. The ambassador, Wendy Hinton, was there, and we had that MOU between Turkish Red Crescent and WANA. This is about disasters products, to see what can we get faster to the disaster area for the people affected. And another one, we had MOU between Turkish Red Crescent and Social Services University to work in the Philippines, when I heard a lot about the Philippine colleagues. So we are already in the Philippines as well, providing humanitarian aid and medical aid. Thanks again. So, any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay, go on.
As everybody knows, and thank you for giving us a quick an overview of the Red Crescent Society in Turkey, and I work with the Red Crescent Society in Bangladesh, and also through youths in the same program. And I found that the youth are very easy and easily they understand the problems. But sometimes there are problems which are not natural disasters, but human-made disasters, like wars or one, fires, whether it is a natural fire, like a forest fire, but they don't have much of a forest, or these are very thin forests, they don't get fire, but there is fire in between two buildings. Because the urbanization is so fast, it's hardly any space between 20-story buildings. And they're all stuck there. Recently, over 2 weeks back, we had a huge fire where women, they had to jump from 19th floor. And nothing could be done. So the only thing was that they go up, move from one roof to the other. Even that was difficult because there was so much smoke in the stairs. And the concept of having fire staircases outside, which we had in the old buildings, which were built during the colonial times, that seems to be no longer valid in this century. So I would like to ask your opinion about this.
There was a big earthquake happened in Turkey, Marmara earthquake in 1999. How many people died because of the earthquake? Any guess?
Very less.
50,000.
So I'm just going to relate to your answer to your question. Only one person died.
Yes, I would think so.
One person died, there's a crack on the ground, and that person fell into the ground. So that's because of the nature counts. The rest, all thousands of people died because of handmade houses, handmade buildings. It's all handmade. So we kill ourselves. Nature doesn't kill. We kill ourselves.
Exactly.
What we had, after we realized that we had to do something, we already created 54 modules, educational modules, to teach how to build houses, how to have your furnitures attached to the walls, etc. Japan is one of those greatest examples in the world. So there are high-rise buildings and there are high magnitude of earthquakes, but we don't feel, we don't actually get news about dying more people than other areas. Just a month ago, there was an earthquake in Turkey, in Denizli, Acıpayam. I was there. Well, luckily nobody died, but many houses collapsed. Those houses were too old, and I would say even if any big truck drives by, those houses would collapse. It made out of mud, those old houses. And again, those walls did not collapse. They made expansion. Those expansions were out of concrete, and they had heavy furnitures on the second floor. So after the earthquake, the outer walls did not collapse, but the inner walls collapsed. So we did not know how to build those houses. Same as fires, same as floods and everything. So again, we're trying to educate people to make sure that they know what they do. So after a disaster, yes, we are in the area, but we're trying to heal the wounds, but we have to make sure that they get prepared before a disaster comes. If you know what to do, if you know what's coming up, we all right now are in the modern era. We know in any geographical location what kind of disasters are coming up. Where in Istanbul, one of those biggest risks is the earthquake. Right? So in this house, I see that chandelier right there, up there. If you go underneath, if it falls, it may damage a lot. But luckily there are no main furnitures. But in your own houses, if something is not attached to the wall, it may fall. That kills you. That damages you. So we have to start those ones. The cracks, I'm not an expert on those cracks, but usually when they go somewhere, if it is on the foundation, yes, it's quite dangerous, but this is just if it is outside of the concrete, it may get fixed. But again, old houses really are so stronger than the new houses. But we need to start educating people. We need to start teaching what they do, how they do. We already focus on the youth. There's Turkish Kızılay youth. We are aiming to have 2 million volunteers, youth volunteers. They are already in place to educate themselves and to educate others. We started the pilot project. I did not go over the details, but that started in the south of Turkey, which we believe the education level is pretty low, and they are doing an amazing job. So 54 modules are already in place in that area called Cizre, and we are aiming not only youth, any corner of the population, and it's already working. So we are in the 5th month of having this pilot project. Once we get all data and see what happens, and we will be extending this project throughout the country.
Thank you very much.
Any more questions?